let's
Cool. Let's
go.
let's go.
Let's get naughty.
Let's bang bang.
Yeah. Hi. This beginning is there was not a beginning, and then there was a beginning, and it's not a very good beginning. So let's just forget all about this. No. I haven't had enough coffee yet, so maybe that's it.
Drink some coffee.
Yeah. So do your intro.
Beer.
Do your intro to this episode.
Okay. Welcome to Cranked, and Ranked. This is the danger episode.
I have a lot of thoughts about this band, as we'll get to with their discography, but I'm kind of mad that they didn't continue the repeating title thing throughout their career, because they had a good thing going, and I was kind of disappointed because I was like, man, there's no other repeating titles anywhere, and their name is Danger, so I don't know, I feel like at least an album title. I don't know. They dropped the ball big time on that one, guys. So, hi, Cranked and Ranked. So yeah, today we're cranking and ranking a band discography, the band Danger, which were a latecomer to the 80s hard rock, hair metal type thing, and came around the time that like it had gotten so popular that I feel like bands like them and the band that I get them mixed up with, Firehouse, they were bands where it's almost like it was more of a polished and smoothed out version of the 80s hair metal stuff, just overall. But it's been an interesting discography to go through for me, because I guess like a lot of these 80s bands, there are the albums that are fun, the albums that are, like, I enjoy for other reasons, and then the albums where I'm just like, oh my God. And so they all kind of have the same kind of thing. We did Poison, we did Motley Crue, we did Cinderella. Well, Cinderella doesn't really have that because they didn't put out a whole bunch of albums later. But it seems like all of those bands have that period where you're like, come on, dude, what the fuck you guys doing now? But So my brain is all over the place. We were talking earlier about autism and ADHD and stuff like that, because we got all those kind of things going on in our heads, and I feel like mine is like I'm all over the place today. Like I'm trying to like. I feel like I'm swerving around like on a road, and I need to like get in the lane, and we need to maybe I just need to slow down and go down to 30, 35. Or wait, what is you guys do kilometers per hour there, right?
No, we do miles per hour. I think.
Like speed limit. Yeah, speed limits are like 35 miles per hour, 45 miles per hour, or whatever.
Well, we do 20, 30, 40, 50.
Which makes more sense. Why is everything fives here?
We can't drive 55.
And 55 is not even a speed limit really here anymore. 55 used to be the highest you could go on the highway. Now it goes 65 is the norm, but you can get stretches of highway where I think you're able to go 80. 75,
and then you got the fucking Germans with the Autobahn. There's no speed limit.
Honestly, if driving in Houston, you would think there was no speed limit. Nobody. I don't even pay attention to the speed limit anymore. Sometimes my wife has to remind me. I'm like, oh shit, okay.
I was gonna say, do you guys have cameras over there, or is it just old dudes in patrol cars?
There are like red light cameras.
I see.
there's not like cameras for speeding, at least
see.
not that I know of. They have it over there. They catch you speeding via camera.
Yeah, we have like they look kind of like lampposts, but they've got like the old ones look like lampposts with a big box on top, but now they're just bright yellow street lamp looking things with a light and a camera on it. And if you shoot past it higher than the speed limit, it flashes and it catches your number plate and you get a fine in the mail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And technically, they could throw half of those up with no working camera, just because how are you supposed to know?
That's the thing. A lot of them actually aren't active. A lot of them are deterrent, but it's never worth taking that risk.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
It's psychological warfare, basically. There are a few areas as well where they're not, they're different types where it's average speed check. So you'll have one at the end and one at the beginning and one at the end of a stretch of road. And if you enter at a certain speed and leave at a certain speed, if the average works out as exceeding that, you get clapped by it as well. Can remember. Fun story. Callum, frontman for Sage, this band I'm in, once got clapped by the same camera going both ways and had to pay a double fine.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I remember I was around his house when he was sorting it out, and it sucks.
So speaking of, two things before I forget them. Number one, when is the finals for the Bloodstock thing? Is that it's later this month?
It's this coming weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So coming up is Eddie's band Sage. They're in the finals to get a spot playing Bloodstock. And,
oh yeah.
But how many bands are competing in this show that you're playing?
I think it's 6. I can look it up real quick.
So just 5 other bands standing in their way from playing Bloodstock, and that would be fucking cool as hell. The other thing that I was going to bring up, because like you're over in your country, like you guys had a big weekend. Over there, because Friday night Oasis reunited, and I saw footage, and holy shit, I don't want to fork over the money, and that's way too many people, but I got chills watching it. I was like, wow, like that, it was great. And then of course last night where was it that they did the Black Sabbath thing? Was it in Birmingham?
Birmingham, yeah.
They did the final Sabbath Aussie show with a cast of stars, and stuff. And I've just watched clips of it.
I'm the same. I've seen clips, yeah.
Yeah. And
I have a few friends who went.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like the kind of thing that if I was there, I'd probably have a good time, but I didn't pay for the pay-per-view thing because once I saw what the lineup was and what was going on, I'm like, it's going to be bands playing songs I've already heard them play a bunch of times, and then doing Black Sabbath covers, which most of them can't do as good as Black Sabbath. And then Ozzy and Black Sabbath are only playing a few songs, and I'm just like, I'll be able to catch those later. And the one thing is like, Ozzy's, hasn't been the greatest vocalist as he's gotten older, just because, he's old. He's an old man. Mm-hmm. But, him sitting down and having to sing songs at like a way lower octave, and still kind of being a little off here and there singing, there's a part of me that I was like, it made it more sad for me, because I was like, he's an old man, and Ozzy's important in my life. And so I felt a little bit sad. But at the same time, there's that part of me that goes like, I love the fact that like everyone, I don't know, because he's the kind of dude that like, he doesn't have an amazing voice. He's kind of a weirdo, but he's just become this beloved person that is so important with this style of music. And everyone would just come out and watch him sit in a chair and kind of sing songs. And there's something about it that I'm just like, it felt nice that, in in a current climate where things feel shitty all the time, seeing the Oasis footage and then seeing the footage of Sabbath and Ozzy doing this final show, I was just like, it felt like a different world for just a little bit. I was just like, oh, okay, things feel better right now. So it was nice. But anyway, so farewell to Ozzy and Sabbath. They didn't say for sure if Ozzy is done doing stuff, and they said for sure it's Sabbath is done. But I feel like, aside from maybe making appearances here and there, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Ozzy was just done, totally.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a crazy thing. I mean, to be fair, the original, ending was 2017. So
Yeah, without Bill Ward though.
yeah, without Bill Ward, but like I say, this feels like a really nice bow
Yeah,
on the whole thing.
yeah. That's the thing, is that I'm glad that they were able to do it with the 4 original guys. Everyone's still there to say goodbye and really take it all in. Because if you've accomplished that much shit, just, they deserve a chance to sort of stop and go, holy shit, we did this,
Yeah.
Like, so it's great. Yeah. And they're a very important band. I don't even know if a band like Danger Danger would exist if Black Sabbath didn't exist. I know that they don't sound similar, but
Probably not, though. I mean, they're still, tangentially a metal act.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they are on a completely different end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
in terms of presentation. So
yeah.
I mean, I think that's a nice little segue into the
Nice.
show's topic.
Yeah,
Very nice.
So Danger Danger has technically 7 albums, but we're ranking 8 albums because this is one of those interesting discographies where there's 2 different versions of the same album, where really it's like different vocalists and then different track order.
Yeah.
In the 2 versions of the same album. So, and I treated them like separate albums. I sort of just looked at them separately. Well, because I did enjoy one more than the other for vocal reasons and for sequencing reasons. So,
Okay.
and they're still around today. And Ted Poley is currently the vocalist, I believe. He left the band after the second album. And then
Yeah.
I believe he is still the current singer of Danger Danger.
He is indeed. Yes.
I don't know what they're doing now, and to go to our usual spot of where a band came into our lives. Honestly, I've talked about it many, many times. Literally, my introduction to Danger Danger was that commercial that said the debut album from Danger Danger featuring Naughty Naughty and Bang Bang. That was. And even as like a 10, 11-year-old kid, I was like, that's fucking funny.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And so, yeah. But I never really got into them. Like, I knew the song, those 2 songs, Naughty Naughty and Bang Bang. Honestly, I didn't know anything else from their catalog that well. Even going back and listening to like Monkey Business, I'm like, I don't remember hearing this back in the day. I don't remember Monkey Business. But
Funny, it was a bigger hit in this country than over there.
oh yeah, well, I think in '91, like we moved on real quick over here.
Yeah.
But so for you, is Danger Danger in any GTA game or in any game in particular?
No, this is one of those things where I did a thing and then suddenly a whole new thing opened up. Now,
Got it. Yeah.
I'm very critical of Spotify. However, I have been using it.
Speaking of that, have you been paying attention to the controversy of the AI band?
Yes, I have.
The
And
Velvet Sunrise or something like that?
Yeah, I vehemently oppose it. Yes.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If you look it up, it may be the Velvet Sunset. I don't know. It's something like that, but it's a
Yeah.
fake band. Everything's AI generated.
Velvet Sundown.
Velvet Sundown. So it's a fake band. They already have a few albums out. They have like 10 million listeners or some shit like that already.
Yeah.
So that shows you how most people listen to music. It doesn't matter if it's fucking fake. But here's why I think. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but this is a good point
cool.
because here's why I think this is a good thing. It's a bad thing for certain reasons. Here's why it's good. If you listen to some of that music, it just sounds like regular ass rock music that just gets made today anyway. So if shit is
going to force bands to get interesting.
exactly, they took the words right out of my mouth. It's going to force bands to try to do something unique, which is so great. Like, please. And hopefully it will lead fans of bands to be like, oh, you can't just put out the same kind of thing again because what if it's AI generated? Cool. Don't do that anymore. The album that you just did that everybody loved, don't do the same fucking thing over again. We already got that. We got it. Do something else. As T-Pain once said, make some different music. So I'm hoping that'll lead. It's going to lead to like bands trying harder taking chances and not being so worried about like having to toe the fucking line of the subgenre that they're a part of. Because it's, I know some bands just want to do that, but I feel like other ones really do feel that pressure of like, we don't want to put out an album where the whole fucking internet hates us. And I'm like, I want you to, because you know who's going to love it? Me. So,
and you know what? Stuff that stands out ages pretty well with time, I've found. Like, you know, look at perfect example, cycling back around to Sabbath. Sabbath were critically panned when they came out, ended up inspiring an entire fucking genre, not just a subgenre, a genre of music.
And within their discography, they have albums that people back years ago talked shit about, and now people are like, well, it's a hidden gem in their catalog. And I'm just
Headless
like,
Cross.
yeah, Headless Cross. But I'm even talking about like Never Say Die or Born Again, like things that like people were just like, oh, this is shit. And now it's all like, well, hold on a second. And I'm like, yeah, because all those albums are good. We did our Sabbath ranking, and we talked all about how the good shit of every album, except for me with 13. I did not like that one, but still. Anyway, so yeah, it brings us back around. Spotify. You were on Spotify, so I'm assuming you did one of those things where it was like you like this artist, check out these artists, and it just went on and on and on and on for you?
Pretty much, yeah. Up until that point, I was exclusively buying CDs because I was staunchly biphysical. For a long time. I was very, very true to myself to where I was like, you know what? I'm keeping it old school. I like having a tangible thing. But then I just found out that, streaming is different to digitally downloading an album, because digital downloads turned me the fuck off. I was like, nah, I did that like with a couple of albums and I felt really fucking hollow about it. I was like, I don't own this. This is a file on a computer that could die tomorrow, Yeah. So I was like, no,
that's why I like doing it through Bandcamp, because you can literally just log into Bandcamp and download it again. You just own it in your Bandcamp library, which is kind of cool.
But yeah, like I say, around the time I did my, hair metal explosion, like I'd gradually gotten into hair metal bands from about 2014. I tell you what did it. I saw Ugly Kid Joe and Skid Row together in Exeter, and that kicked off an interest in hair metal. And from the GTA Vice City soundtrack, I found some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Your Motley Crue, your fucking, all of the stuff on that soundtrack. And then gradually I was just like, I love the sound of this. I just want more and more of it. So I just gradually kept buying hair metal CDs until it got to a point where they became quite pricey to find. So I was like, I need an easier way to do some window shopping. So I got Spotify because I realized this is a really good way to access a fuckload of this stuff I like. And
Yeah.
the two big ones I got into around like mid 2017 was Danger Danger, Firehouse, and anything else that was hair metal. You know, I pretty much went on YouTube and looked up hair metal video playlist, and I just added every song that I would find. Well, not just every song, every artist and every album I would just follow and add.
Yeah.
And for a long time I was doing this is where I realized I might be on the fucking spectrum. I went on Wikipedia and I looked up list of glam metal bands and artists, and I basically took every album from about like 82, 83 to 92, 93 and put them all in like a master list, and I would pick one at random every day and I'd listen to it, and if it stuck, it stuck.
Yeah.
And
I love how you used, I'm going to steal that. You use the phrase window shopping for streaming music, because that's exactly what I use it for. I pay whatever it is, $12 a month or whatever for Apple Music, specifically just for that. Something new comes out or something I don't know, I'll listen to things to see if I like it. If I like it, I go find where to buy it and I buy it. And so that's exactly what it is. It's literally just me browsing a store, and I pay $10 a month to do it. But it's so helpful for me because I still discover new music all the time. And so I wish everybody used it that way, because it's just like, there are people out there that fucking complain that they have to pay for streaming music, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
It's like, dude, you would have paid probably more back in the day than you pay for this service to get every song fucking ever, you know, to get one album. It just, I tell you what, right, and this is probably, I'm not even going to call it a fucking boomer take, because it's not, right? You are not entitled to, you know, things for free. If someone put effort into something, regardless of, you know, how, you know, fun the job looks, it still took a lot of hard work to fucking get off the ground. And the thing is, people think you learn to play an instrument and that's that you're rich.
Yeah.
That's not how it fucking works.
Well, like, not only did it not work that way back in the heyday when there was a lot of money flowing around, it absolutely doesn't fucking work that way today. Even for established bands, it doesn't work that way today. So, yeah. But that's what the internet is. The internet is a lot of people running their mouth about things that they don't know anything about.
We shouldn't have let stupid people be this loud.
Put that on a fucking bumper sticker. That's absolutely true. It's because I still see today, like, certain bands, people will say, oh, it must be nice to, like, be a rock star, and these are bands that, like, aren't super popular, and I'm like, do you guys think that they don't have day jobs? Like, they have day jobs, and sometimes they have to lose their day jobs in order to go out on tour. And then when they get back, they don't have a job and they have to figure out what they're going to do for money. But they do this shit, and, like, people treat it just like, I should get it for free. Fuck you, you know?
He fucking left the band!
Fucking right. Fucking leave the gene pool.
Lars was right. That's all I'm going to say. That's another bumper sticker right there.
Yep.
Anyway, Danger.
Yes.
All right. Eight albums. And I bet some people out there are like, they put out 8 fucking albums? Because that's what I said too. I was like, 8? Holy shit. So we're going to rank them as usual, from our least favorite to our most favorite. And as usual, I'm going to let Eddie Sparxx start us off with his number 8. I don't know what that was. It was just a weird voice thing.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's okay. You tried something new. It's cool.
Sometimes I get excited, and my brain wants to do weird things with my voice. You should. The thing is that the thing that, like, most people don't know about me, and I won't give you all of the. I won't give you all of the details right now, because not even my wife knows. Like, if I'm in the car alone You know, in like in that vacuum sort of area where there's nobody can fucking hear me, I make some fucking weird ass fucking noises. And that's how I know I have some sort of spectrum thing, because it feels good just to randomly make a fucking bizarre noise in the car.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, it's very freeing just to go, bah! Or whatever I'm doing.
That's called a vocal stim.
There you go. But like I guess I control it enough. Well, I don't control it that much because I do shit under my breath and I notice that I'm doing it. So I'll just be around the house like sweeping or something, and my wife or my kid are like in the room, and I catch myself doing like, and I'm just like, wait, whoa, was I doing that out loud?
Dude, I annoy the shit out of people with what I do. So I will hear a song, but I won't sing along to the lyrics or hum along to the guitar. I will do the drums. Like I instinctively go for the drums. So I'll just be like, and then like Amy will be like, "Well, shut up. That's getting so annoying." And I say, "I'm sorry. I don't even realize I'm doing it." Yeah.
Yeah. I still do my fuck off versions of songs where everything. Fuck off, go fuck yourself, go suck a dick. All the lyrics are changed. I do that to myself too. That probably slips out of my mouth when I'm walking around the house. Because it'd be like, baby, go suck a dick. It's like, because that song's been in my head. That's why last time I was like, oh, Danger, Danger with that song, Don't Treat Me Bad. You're like, that's Firehouse. I'm like, yes, Firehouse. That's it. Played that on my radio show last night, Don't Treat Me Bad. But I also followed it up with Bang Bang by Danger Danger.
Nice.
All right, so let's do this. Number 8, Danger Danger album.
My number 8 Danger Danger album is For the Hard Way.
Okay, cool. Already we have different lists. This is fun.
Okay, so now I want to make it very clear that I listened to this album completely chronologically as if Cockroach came out in 93.
Got it. I did it backwards.
Okay.
I started with the last album and I went backwards, but I listened to Cockroach when they would have come out, the different versions.
Yeah. So Cockroach came out in 2001, but it was recorded in 1993 when hair metal was nearly completely gone. With the last remaining anything being probably Def Leppard's Adrenalize.
You had some. Oh, you know what? God damn it! I'm going to keep derailing us. I'm sorry.
No, keep doing it. It's good.
Did you know? Because I had to look this up. Like I was thinking to myself, like, who is the band that remained popular and making a lot of money on a major label from the 80s? Throughout through the 90s, do you know who that band was that was the most successful, still on a major, still having hit songs?
That started out hair metal?
They started out in the hair metal scene of the 80s.
I'm thinking it's gotta be Bon Jovi or fucking, is it Bon Jovi?
You nailed it. It's Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Because Bon Jovi, I didn't realize that Bon Jovi. Some of the other hits that I know, some of them were late 90s and some of them were early 2000s. Like they were still pumping out hits.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Where is it?
Good for
Bon
them.
Jovi. Yeah, Bon Jovi kind of.
John Bovi.
I think. Where is it? Let's go to their discography really quick. Sorry, I know we're really dancing around.
It's my fault. My brain is all over the place today.
So I think John Bon Jovi saw what was happening and did the most successful about turn of any 80s band ever.
But they did it without trying to go grungy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Keep the Faith is not a hair metal album. It is just, it goes rootsy, rocky vibe.
Yeah. So they avoided that thing, the Hey Fellow Kids thing. Yeah. And they were able to just like successfully, what's the word? Transition into the 90s that way.
Yeah. I was going to say it had to have been either Bon Jovi, fucking, or Van Halen, but even even
Well,
so,
Van Halen was 70s. I consider Van Halen the granddaddy of all those bands. These bands wouldn't exist without Van Halen. Like I almost feel like Black Sabbath is very important, but so is fucking Van Halen for like all this 80s shit. Like, so
yeah. It's interesting to think about what if Van Halen had never happened. Like
the world would be in a worse place probably than it is now.
Yeah,
It'd be a fucking hellscape, probably. I can't imagine that. I love Van Halen, and I love the bands that came from Van Halen, and I love the guitar players that ended up in metal bands, but they still, did the showy, shreddy stuff that I feel like Eddie Van Halen kind of popularized. And yeah. Anyway, okay, that was my interruption because I looked that up the other day because I was like, is there a band that like remained on a major label and remained successful? Because other bands were on, like Motley Crue was still on a major, but they had albums that were less successful. But Bon Jovi, they fucking did it. Anyway, all right, back to For the Hard Way, right?
Yes.
Is your number 8.
Now, I listened to these albums in full-on chronological order, not even release order, chronological recording order.
Got it.
And For the Hard Way comes after Dawn. So Dawn is technically the band's third album, release order-wise. And that one's I tend to think of it as their ultraphobic, where it's like, it's very much they've leaned into this harder edged hard rock sound that I wouldn't necessarily call it trying to be grunge, but like doing the I don't know, maybe
it was
there's
just
an element of it, but
some of the stuff that they did, I would say that, but most of it I think follows closely what Skid Row and Warrant were doing, where I wouldn't call anything they did grunge. They just got heavier. What they were doing.
They leaned into the heaviness.
They were just like, fuck the keyboards, fuck the pretty production. Let's get more raw and heavier. So
yeah. Which makes me feel bad for the keyboard player because it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I'm playing in a genre that is already irrelevant, and I'm irrelevant in the band. This sucks.
More on that later because I have my thoughts about the keyboard, which is really just the first album. So,
like I say, so For the Hard Way, upon listening to it, the best songs, in my opinion, on this album appear on different albums.
Yeah.
The new tracks for this album, I'm pretty sure a lot of these are they're mixed in from the Cockroach sessions. Like what is it? Still Kicking, Sick Little Twisted Mind, fucking Going, Gone, Afraid of Love. Those 4 are from the Cockroach sessions, and Coming Home 98 is a re-recording of
song from Screw It.
Of a song from Screw It. So here's the thing, right? Those 5 songs from different albums are better than the new songs on this album. Yeah. Which made me think that's got to dock at some points retrospectively. Yep. When we live in a world where Cockroach is out now.
And not only that, retrospectively, where we've heard the original version of Cockroach as well.
Yeah.
So it's like another added layer.
So with that, a lot of this, it's sad to say, like, a lot of this album feels redundant when these half of the material is utilized better on a different album.
Yeah.
And
it's not the only album that they included Cockroach songs on. Like that's
there's a couple on Return of the Great Gildersleeves as well. But yeah, like I say, I mean, Andy Timmons returned to the band, I think, around this time, which is pretty cool. But again, it's one of those albums that has been rendered less important now
Yeah.
than it would have been at the time. Like if I heard Still Kicking, Sick Little Twisted Mind back to back, I'd be like, oh, these guys are so back.
Yeah.
But Cockroach released 4 years later, and it's like, this is even better than this.
So for those of you who like to watch and listen to our stuff, but you don't know anything about this band, maybe it's time to, well, we'll sum up what we're meaning when we say Cockroach. So they recorded an album with their original vocalist to be released in 1993, which was called Cockroach. Then the singer left the band, and apparently there was like legal issues with the vocalist. And so they got a new singer who was Paul Lane. That's his name, right? Paul Lane.
Yeah.
They re-recorded the vocals, but then after they re-recorded the vocals, the record label was like, get the fuck out, guys. We don't want to put this out. So there was 2 versions of the same album that were just shelved. And then later on, both those versions were released. But in the meantime, Danger Danger put out other albums and included songs from the Cockroach sessions. I believe on this album, they actually just remixed the songs from Cockroach, and then on the other one, they re-recorded them. So
I listened to them back to back, and it is definitely the same exact stems. They're just mixed to fit the rest of the album.
Yeah. So it's a weird, it's a weird period for the band, but so yeah. So I mean, clearly they knew those songs were good because they ended up just pulling them right back out and putting them on other shit. So
yeah. Yeah, well, with that, let's not harp too long on this one.
Cool.
That's my number 8 for the hard way.
So, okay, my number 8, it was weird. At the beginning of this album, I thought this album was going to be higher, but by the time it was over, it is dead last. Revolve from 2009. Okay. The return of Ted Poley on vocals, which is good. This album is so it's 2009, so that's 20 years after their first album came out. This one came out, and it's the last one that they've done. They haven't done an album since then. So my gripes are like the normal gripes that I have about 2000s albums, where it's overly compressed, it's digital sounding production, but so many bands suffered from that shit. So it's kind of, you kind of know when you see the year of the album, you go, we might be getting a little bit of this here.
2009 was peak loudness wars as well.
Yeah. So close to the beginning of the album, there's 2 songs in the album, Ghosts of Love and Hearts on the Highway, full on montage music, really enjoyable tracks. And as the album was going on, I was like, I get kind of like a Def Leppard / Bryan Adams kind of vibe from what they're doing here. And some of the songs were good, and I wish that the production was better, but I'm like, okay, but I understand this was the time, but these are pretty good songs, and some of them are really catchy, and some of them I think if they were released in the 80s would have been massive hits. But then all of a sudden, you get into the second half of the album, and I start going, why does the sound of these songs sound so familiar? What is the, because something all of a sudden was bad, the milk had gone bad, and I was just like, ugh, why do I feel icky? And I realized what it is. 2 kinds of things are happening. Country rock, modern country rock, the country stuff that's on the pop country radio, sounds like some of these songs, and fucking Christian rock. There's some of this sounds like both of those things, which is, in my opinion, the lowest form of fucking music that you can get. Christian rock, country rock, that is as low as you can fucking go. So once that, I literally wrote in my notes, yikes. Because once that feeling got to me, I went, oh, this is bad. And there's a Donald Trump reference in the album that did not age well at all.
I was about to bring that up. I too had a bit of a cringe out when that showed up. But here's the redemption of that line. And hear me out on this.
Because it's about being rich. It has nothing to do. It's 2009, so Donald Trump is still just this rich jerk off at this point.
But the thing I like is that he says he wants to be a jet set billionaire, like Donald Trump with better hair. So that is kind of a diss.
A little
If you
bit.
think about it. So, it's undeniable that he's rich, but his hair, what is going on?
Yeah. What's going on there? So this was the biggest, like starting off like with low expectations, and then my expectations were going up, and I was like, oh, and then they literally just went as low as they could possibly go. 'Cause by the end of the album, I was totally done, and I'm just like, wow, this should have just like put out an EP of like those handful of really great sort of rockers. But yeah, it got really, yeah. It got real questionable by the end. So,
you've pretty much said everything I was going to say, and it's my number 7.
all right, go for it. Yeah, Revolve, number 7.
That was my point. I feel like I don't have a lot to add to that. We pretty much have the exact same opinion. It is nice to hear Ted Poley back in the band.
Sure, yeah.
like,
I honestly, I prefer him of the two vocalists.
Yeah, because the thing is, as cool as Paul Lane's voice is, it's very standard power rock vocal.
Yes, agreed. Very good vocalist, not very unique.
Ted Poley, however, I could pick him out of a crowd like that.
Yeah.
And funny, in place of talking about Revolve, what I am going to mention is there is a song from a Sonic the Hedgehog game that Ted Poley sings on.
Oh, nice.
And I remember watching someone do a fucking speed run of Sonic or whatever. It's just like a Sonic clip. It was like a world record or something. Mm-hmm. And I heard the voice in the song. I was like, is that the guy from fucking Danger Danger? And I looked it up, and Ted Poley does have a song in... He's 63 years old. It's weird. My image of him in my head is from the Naughty Naughty video.
Yes. Yeah.
So thinking about, it's weird sometimes, if you haven't seen. Here we go. Poley has collaborated with Japanese guitarist Jun Senu. I don't know. Jun Senu. I really hope that is how it's said, for songs in the Sonic the Hedgehog video game series. Such work includes Lazy Days, Living in Paradise, Escape from the City, I think that's the one I've heard, We Can, and Race to Win.
So I'm assuming this is a later Sonic game because they had legit songs in it?
Yeah, this would have been like 2000s era Sonic games when there was actual like kind of pop punky hard rock songs in it rather than just another fun thing, in 2008 rock and roll comic CC Banana recorded a song called Ted Poley, released on the album Kiss My Ankh, tribute to Vinnie Vincent. The song is a parody of the song Unholy, inspired by the story of Poley's first encounter with Kiss lead singer Paul Stanley.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I just thought.
So it goes Ted Poley.
Yeah, literally. I've heard it before. It's hilarious. Ted Poley. It's fucking sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you pretty much said everything I had to say about Revolve, but I had those little Ted Poley anecdotes in my head.
Yeah.
And that felt like a good place to drop them in lieu of any real contributions. So on to your.
Okay. On to my number 7. So your 7 was Revolve. My number 7 is Cockroach version 2 with Paul Lane on vocals.
Okay. Wait, which one's volume 2 and which one's volume 1? Because I think volume 1 is the Paul Lane one.
Well, I'm just saying the version with Paul Lane, the newer vocalist, whatever that is. I'm calling it version 2 because it was recorded after version 1.
Yeah.
So the Paul Lane Cockroach, not the original Cockroach. Mm-hmm. So same exact music, just different vocals. When I first heard it, this was obviously because I was listening to this shit in reverse. I believe this was, no, it wasn't. Was this the first, or I don't remember. Anyway, when I heard this, I thought he was doing a Janie Lane impression. I was just like, oh, he's trying to sound like Janie Lane, and I guess that makes sense, but Janie Lane's a much better singer. But he's fine. I just prefer Ted Poley's vocals. And also, part of my critique of this album is once I heard both versions of Cockroach, the track order on Ted Poley's version is way better, way more interesting. This one, like, is oddly sequenced, and they try to be too like aggressive up front, and it's too many rockers in a row, and it's almost like just trying to be like, see, we rock now. Listen to our vocalist, he rocks. And unfortunately, Paul Lane gets kind of cheesy at times with his delivery, and I feel like sometimes it just doesn't. Even hearing the songs the first time, I was like, I feel like it doesn't fit right. Like the songs weren't written with his voice in mind. And I wrote my last note I wrote was, vocally it comes across like, quote, I'm the new boyfriend and I wear a leather jacket, end quote. Because like that's that whole thing back in the day, like the girl breaks up with like her college boyfriend, and then she goes and dates the bad boy. He wears a leather jacket, and that's what Paul Lane is. He's like, I'm the new guy. I'm a rough and tumble guy. You better get out of my way. And so that's what it felt like. It was like way too much. I'm just like, okay.
Hey kid, you want a cigarette?
Yeah, this is fucking naughty, naughty, bang, bang. Okay, let's. There's no need to overcompensate because the music is already heavier. So it's not bad, but when there's another version of the album that I like a lot more than this version, and literally the only difference is the vocals and the track order, I'm like, well, that means this isn't very good. So I put it at number 7 because I'm just like, I prefer the stuff where there's more originals that were done with Paul Lane than this. So Cockroach version 2, I don't know if it would be called volume 1, I guess, in the release of things, but whatever, you know what I mean.
I've just decided to rename them Cockroach Ted Poley and Cockroach Paul Lane to make it easier.
All right, Cockroach Paul Lane is my number 7.
Okay.
Moving on.
My number 6 is Return of the Great Gildersleeves.
Okay.
And this is where things go up a notch for me, where it's like, okay, this is kind of, I've heard it said that the early 2000s are glam metal's punk phase, and it's like, all of the dudes that had massive hair in the 80s have shorter, spiky hairstyles. They're still rock stars, but they're embracing that early 2000s. Hey, we could tour with Blink if we tried, sort of thing. But even then, this album, it is a harder edged, again, Danger Danger, and even thematically, it's a little bit more, serious. Like, because Cockroach is heavier, but it's still very, we're a hair metal band. We've been coerced into being heavier by the world.
Yeah, it fits in with like I mentioned earlier, the heavier Skid Row or Warrant or whatever, where you can listen to those albums and they don't feel like they're trying to be something different. It just feels like they naturally decided to get heavier with their sound. So
yeah. I always got that vibe from Slave to the Grind and Dog Eat Dog and albums like that, where it's like it always felt like there's a trajectory there that they're gonna go there anyway. And like, even if you listen to fucking Cherry Pie compared to Dirty Rotten, even if you compare those two albums, like there are much heavier moments on Cherry Pie than on the debut. Uncle Tom's Cabin, Mr. Rainmaker, those sorts of tracks. But we're talking about Danger Danger.
We've already done Warrant. You can go listen to that one.
I mean, to be fair, they have a very comparable discography. A very similar thing happened. But, like I say, there are still a couple of tracks on here from the Cockroach sessions, but they've been re-recorded and rewritten. I'm pretty sure these ones have, as opposed to just remixed to match the blander 1997 album quality. Either way, this one came out in the 2000s. So yeah, it's good. We've entered what I would consider good. And honestly, I don't really have much to say beyond that. Where is it? Yeah, it's good. It's a good early 2000s hair metal comeback sort of vibe.
Yeah.
We've been through grunge, new metal's going on as well, but we've got a bit of a second wind right now because Poison did the glam jam metal slam something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like something happened in the late 90s where it was like, oh, fuck, it's fun again.
Yeah. Well, I think that the way that I remember experiencing that was it kind of started because of the reality TV stuff, because you would have, Bret Michaels or whoever on
Rock of Love.
Before that, there was a show called The Surreal Life, I think was what it was called, where they put like celebrities together. It was like The Real World, only with celebrities, but they had like a couple rockers, 80s rockers in there. And I honestly think what happened was people would see like Bret Michaels on the show and they would go, oh, he was in Poison. What does Poison sound like? And they go back and they go, this is good. Why the fuck are we not listening to this anymore? So I think all of a sudden everyone was just like, hey, we threw away all this great music. let's get it back. So yeah, I don't even, are you looking up The Surreal Life on your end?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. So the first season had Vince Neil on it. The second series had Ron Jeremy and Vanilla Ice on it.
Oh yeah.
Where was
I loved those shows.
Where was it? What season is? Let me look it up. I know
maybe Bret Michaels wasn't on that show, but I just know that there was a boom in like these guys being in like kind of television shows and stuff. And
it's tangentially related to Bret Michaels because of the
and then one of those,
or whatever it's called.
One of those had Flavor Flav in it, and that's when Flavor Flav met
Flavor of Love. Yeah.
And then, because he met Bridget Nielsen and they got together, but then I guess they broke up and then they did Flavor of Love. Oh, fuck, I don't remember. It's all that whole time period.
There's 3 seasons of Flavor of Love.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Flavor Flav fucking rules. Like that dude,
he does.
That dude rules.
Yeah, boy.
Anyway, so are you done with Gildersleeves?
Yes.
Cool. My number 6 is For the Hard Way from 1997.
Okay.
And I have the same gripes as you. I was like, oh, these are just Cockroach songs remixed a little bit, which is boring. And then some of this album does have Hey Fellow 90s Kids type songs on it. Mm-hmm. The weird thing about that, though, is that some of the songs sound very similar to other bands that were successful. And I'm like, man, if they had changed their name, they may have been able to be successful just saying, oh, we're a new band. Because they honestly, like, I tried to look up their stuff and I don't know if they had outside songwriters. If they didn't have outside songwriters, those dudes could write a fucking great rock song all the way through to the end of their they haven't put anything else out. But you know what I'm saying? Every album has at least one song, if not more, on it that I go, God, this is real catchy, really well done. Yeah. And some of the songs on For the Hard Way made me feel like if I didn't know this was Danger Danger and this was like on the soundtrack for some teen movie, it probably could be a hit song. So it's impressive. If they wrote the songs themselves, whoever the main songwriters were, it's impressive because some of it's really good. But it is interchangeable with a lot of other rock music that was happening at the time. So it's like you're not only dealing with the issue of your name is still Danger Danger and you're still Naughty Naughty and Bang Bang guys, But now you're making this music that's just kind of interchangeable, where I feel like they would have benefited from being a different band at this point.
Yeah.
But also, I also understand the idea of like not throwing away your legacy. Like, we started this band as fucking Danger Danger. You know, it's still at the core. That's who we are. So it makes sense. But I just think overall this album was just didn't have enough going for it that as an album made me enjoy it. It had its moments, but for the most part, I was just like, rehashed songs, some good songs, some bad songs, but you know, not horrible. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, my top 5 is when we get into where I go, okay, well, now shit's good. Like, at least I can at least look at it and go, I get what they were doing and they did it well, you know, at this point.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Number 5.
my number 5 is the Paul Lane version of Cockroach. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm in the same boat as you, to where so much of the personality of the band, you know, this is hair metal. So, you know, when you drop Ted Poley, that's a huge, huge hole to fill. Paul Lane, as a singer,
Yeah.
fucking great.
Yes.
Like, amazing voice, brilliant voice, you know.
I couldn't even come close to singing the shit he sings. So
And I love it, and I love his voice too. But the thing is, when I'm thinking of Danger Danger, I'm thinking of Ted Poley's voice. So, you know, this album could be a completely different album from this era. I would have liked it. I wouldn't have remotely associated it with Danger Danger, you know, especially coming off the heels of the first 2 albums.
Yeah.
Albeit, first album has a lot more keyboards than the second album, but there's still that through line of Ted Poley. You ditch Ted Poley, it's like, fuck, this is just a really good, heavy, early 90s power rock. Glam is done, but we still got something left in the tank.
yeah, because let's be fair, even at their best, when the songs were really good, they still weren't that unique of a band. And so, if you all of a sudden you change out your vocalist for one that is also not very unique, then it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it's very the first album is very Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure core, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I love it for that. I absolutely adore it. But you know, like I say, if you put a different singer on each, it's funny, if you put a different singer on each of the songs on the first album, you could convince me it's a soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, listening to that, dude, I've listened to the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure soundtrack so much this year. It just puts me in an excellent fucking mood, just going off of that same vibe as this completely. At least to the first Danger Danger album. So when I found the Danger Danger debut, I was like, oh, okay, this is tapping into some, not only some, I like this sound, but childhood nostalgia as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely something in the synapses up here working. But back to the Paul Lane version of Cockroach.
Yeah.
It sounds like a different band without Ted Poley.
Yeah.
So with that, I had to dock at a point, and I agree. I think the sequencing on the Ted Poley version is better as well. And I'm definitely going to gush about Cockroach.
Yeah.
But I'm going to gush about it when I get to what I believe to be the superior version. So over to you.
All right, my number 5 is The Return of the Great Gildersleeves from 2000. Once again, a couple of leftover Cockroach songs, but they at least re-recorded them. These don't seem like the same recordings. So it's a harder edge on this album and a little bit more alternative-y sounding. But the thing that I kind of enjoyed about this is that even though it did have a little bit of that modern thing, there's still a little bit of 80s hard rock vibes that they can't quite shake.
Yeah, there
And
is. There definitely is.
when I hear that, I like that because I'm just like, cool. But then there's songs. The song that surprised me the most that I like that just got stuck in my head was $6 Million Man. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is such a cool song.
Yeah.
And once again, sounds nothing like Danger Danger to me. But I was like, these are some of these songs, like, you know, and the album is kind of all over the place, but everything was pretty enjoyable. A really interesting album for the year 2000. And the one thing that I can say, especially for this album, is that as the album is going through and I'm listening to all the songs, and you know, aside from like the more upbeat version of Walk It Like You Talk It, which I don't think works as well, overall, like I can hear that they were trying to make a good album. You know how like you can sometimes listen to an album and you go, they just recorded a bunch of songs and threw them in an order and put it out. I feel like on this album and certain albums, I can hear as it goes along, I feel like they were trying to make a good album from beginning to end, hitting all these different marks with the songs that they were writing. And I appreciate that kind of thing. And even if it's an album that I don't love, sometimes if there's enough enjoyable songs and I just get that vibe of like, I hear the effort here. It makes it even more enjoyable for me. So not an amazing album, but for an album in the 2000s from an 80s hair metal band, Return of the Great Gildersleeves is pretty damn good. So it ends up being my number 5.
Cool. So my number 4. My number 4 is Dawn.
Hey, that's also my number 4.
Okay. So this album in particular, like I say, you know, they went in a very different direction with this record. You know, that there appears to be definitely a concerted effort to be more heavy and harder edged, you know, more so than Cockroach, because Cockroach is interesting because it has 1 foot in this and 1 foot in Screw It. You know? And
agreed.
it's a bridge. It's a bridge of an album, you know.
And now all of a sudden, at this point, you're missing that bridge.
Yeah.
And you're already on the other side, and you're like, how do we get here?
Yeah. So like up until 2001, without the, you know, for 6 years, this album existed in a vacuum of just, oh fuck, we're just, you know, heavy grunge vibes.
Totally different sounding vocalist now too.
Totally different sounding vocalist, and it's the third to be released, but it's not the third to be recorded. And I think a lot of people would have been in the dark. And I always, you know, even says here, it can be compared to Warrant's Ultraphobic, which, you know,
I mean, Ultraphobic is way better, but yeah.
It definitely, you know.
But yeah, it's same vibes for sure.
Even down to the fucking colors on the album cover.
The album cover,
you know, everything. I mean, is, you know, someone sat down and everything's orange. So, but yeah, like I say, what does it say here? This album was released in place of Cockroach, which was rescheduled for a '93 release. However, Ted Poley sought legal action preventing the album's release. But
that's why they re-recorded it with new vocals. But then after they did that, the record label was like, we don't want this.
Yeah. It's the landscape had definitely changed by that point. But like I say, this is much more of a grungy hard rock thing than it is anything to do with anything from Screw It or even Danger Danger. I mean, everything that you think of from the first album is gone at this point.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those. At least with Warrant, you have Dog Eat Dog out that you can point to as the bridge.
Yeah.
People were not ready for Danger Danger to do this violent a fucking left turn.
Yeah. And it's not like this is like brutal metal or anything. It's just when you go from monkey business and then the next album is this. It's just
when you go from I still think about you.
Yeah.
To the likes of fucking Helicopter or well, I'm just gonna read you the fucking track list, right? Tell you what, we're gonna compare the track lists of the first album.
Also, when this album first started, I was ready to hate this album simply because the fucking lyrics in the first song, "I'm a helicopter coming down on you. I'm a helicopter. My blade is true." Fucking awful. Now, I know I gave them some props earlier for being good songwriters. That's not one of their best moments.
No. It's not the strongest start. Right, so I'm going to do a direct comparison. There are 11 tracks on both albums.
Okay. You're doing Screw It and Dawn?
I'm actually comparing the first album and Dawn.
All right. All right.
Showcasing how Screw It was not enough of a bridge,
Yeah.
Screw It got a little bit more explicit and edgy lyric-wise, but it was still very hair metal. Here we go. I'm going to compare the two directly. Here we go. Track 1 of Danger Danger, we have Naughty Naughty.
Mm-hmm.
Track 1 of Dawn is Helicopter. 2.
I mean, that sounds naughty too.
Yeah. A little bit of a different.
To impress a chick, do the helicopter dick.
So we got Under the Gun compared to Crawl, which is very
Crawl.
It is 1995 now.
Crawl. Rain. Slave.
So number 3, Saturday Night, Punching Bag. Don't Walk Away, Mother Mercy. Okay, that one's not too bad.
I don't know, Mother Mercy. That's very into the 90s right there.
Yeah, I suppose. 5, Bang Bang. Sorry. 6, Rock America, Driving Sideways. I love Rock America. I'm not going to apologize for that. Boys Will Be Boys.
They will.
Goodbye. Oh my God, this one's massive. One Step from Paradise, Wide Awake and Dead. That sounds like a fucking Dave Mustaine lyric. Wide Awake and Dead. 9. This one's so fucking funny. This one's so funny. 9. Feels Like Love. Nobody cares.
It's like, it just sounds like one album, the guy is like madly in love with somebody and loving life, and then he gets dumped, and then this is the next album.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what happened on Dawn. He turned 14.
Yep.
10. Turn It On. Heaven's Fallen. And then 11. This one kind of works. Live It Up. Hard.
Hard. God damn it! The fucking one-word titles of the 90s.
Yeah.
Not to disparage the one-word titles, because I know Sage has some.
Oh no. It's a band name. It don't count.
The new album from Sage featuring Sick. You're not ready for this level of rock. That's not your daddy's rock and roll anymore.
Yeah, we definitely leaned into the. We did the opposite of what Danger Danger did. We say everything fucking once.
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's it. Sage.
Yes, Sage featuring Sick Sick and Breathe Breathe.
Yep. Yeah, Dawn is also my number 4.
Cool. Yeah. It's very. it's very This Is Grunge. You know,
And
even if
it's the only all original Paul Lane album. Every other album has songs from what's it called? From Cockroach. This one doesn't.
Huh.
And that gave it a lot of points for me because it still has. I love you know me. I love the mid '90s albums, and even if this one isn't as good as some of the ones that I really like, it still has that vibe. And there's something about the rockers from the '80s because you know, despite the groupthink opinion, those dudes could play, and so if they just decided, let's just make heavier music, they're going to be good at doing the heavier music. And so all those albums just like are kind of a cool thing. Just like and not just the harder ones, just the ones where they leaned into whatever they leaned into. Cause you have like, Poison with like Native Tongue. They didn't necessarily get heavier. They got like bluesier, I guess.
Yeah.
And whatever it is that they do in that mid '90s era, for some reason, I'm almost like, yeah, I don't care what bandwagon they were jumping on or off of. Is the album good? And a lot of times, yeah, it's good. So, yeah, some great songs on this one, some not so much, but overall, I enjoyed it because I enjoy this kind of album from these bands. It drags a little bit towards the end of the album, but other than that, it recovers very quickly from the shitty helicopter lyrics. But anyway, yeah, so that's why it's my number 4 because I was just like, you know, because I think Paul Lane should get his due as much as I don't like him compared to Ted Poley. If there is an album where I feel like he sounds his best and fits in his best, it's Dawn.
This one.
Yeah. So it's my number 4.
It definitely feels at home. And another thing I wanted to mention as well, I think this album was recorded as a 3-piece. You got Paul Lane doing lead vocals, Hammond organ, acoustic guitar, and percussion. Bruno Revolve doing lead and rhythm guitars, backing vocals, keyboards, and bass. And Steve West doing drums and percussion. So there are 3 guys on this. So if that ain't 90s as fuck, I don't know what.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to number 3. This is when it's going to get interesting because I know for sure that our number 3s are different.
Okay. So my number 3 is Cockroach with Ted Poley.
Okay.
And this one for me was a much later discovery than Danger Danger and Screw It, because I didn't realize that it was from 1993. It just said, released in 2001. So I just kind of assumed at the time that it wasn't the sound I was looking for.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong, because do you know what? This album is was quite literally a hidden gem for like 8 years.
Yeah.
The only people that fucking heard it are the people that made it. And there's some killer shit on this album.
I agree. I agree.
It's, hold on, I gotta get it up because it's.
He's got to get it up, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, ladies.
Right then. We talked about this, Mike.
He's got a little stage fright. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. He's just not. He's not used to the live treatment.
For people in the podcast world, don't worry. He's rock hard right now.
Worryingly so.
now the thoughts in your head that you didn't want there, or maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you're Eddie Sparxx stan.
You know what? I've never thought about that, but now that I have, it's frightening. So, Cockroach, the Ted Poley version, features these songs. Still Kicking. Mm-hmm. When She's Good, She's Good. When She's Bad, She's Better.
Which is a great second track, in my opinion. Like having that, it's great.
Absolutely fantastic. Hold on, sorry, I broke tradition there. Bear with. When She's Good, She's Good. When She's Bad, She's Better. Short of Love, Afraid of Love. Now we got Of Love songs back to back, but you know it is a 80s leftover hard rock album, so I'll let it slide. Tip of my tongue, Walk It Like You Talk It. Going, Going, Gone is a banger. Good Time, Don't Break My Heart Again, Don't Pull the Plug. Now, there's 2 Don't songs back to back as well. We also got Going, Going, Gone, so that is a callback, I guess you could say. But we also got Sick Little Twisted Mind. I fucking love that song.
That's a good one, too.
It's really good, hard-edged, early 90s hard rock that's left over from the 80s, and you can tell there's still some gas in the tank, if you know what I mean. There is a post-grunge hair metal band sound where, for example, For the Hard Way is where it's like, fuck, we should probably rethink where in 93 it was still very, well, let's just strip things back a little bit and we can still do the hard rock fun stuff, but we're gonna make it a little edgier. But
and I think in some cases it was natural. In some cases I think these bands, because like I've said a lot of times, the influences of other bands are always going to be there. Yeah, that was okay.
It's like Dawn's the best album. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, they're very opinionated, but just like the same. I always try to like explain it like. So there was those of us who weren't in bands, and like in 1993, I hadn't joined a band yet. So why?
I'm laughing at the dogs were cracking me up. Sorry, it's like they kept waiting for you to speak, and then as soon as you get talking,
our dog Sunny is synonymous for doing that. We'll just be sitting at the dinner table, complete silence, and me or my wife will just start talking about something, and then Sunny's like, "I'm talking too."
Yeah, this is my opinion on this matter.
Yeah,
I am a dog.
Anyway, so like, I hadn't started a band yet in 1993, but like, so I was just listening to music and I was a fan, I'd started writing some stuff, but like, it was all like, I liked, Skid Row. And then when I heard Nirvana, I was like, oh, I love Nirvana. And then I heard, I don't know, Cannibal Corpse, and I love this too. The fact that we expect bands to not be fans of music and to all of a sudden feel like they want to make something slightly different. It's like, it's so bad. It's so horrible that we write that off. Like, oh, they were just hopping on trends. I'm like, some may have done that. And some may have been pressured by record labels, but I think a whole lot of it is, this is the music that's going on. This is the music that you're hearing. You're probably playing or know some of these bands, and you're hearing it and going, oh, that's good. And then what happens when you go to write a song? That comes out. You go into the studio. You're like, I really like the sound of that one album. Can we like make it a little drier, or we can bring the guitars up? So I just feel like, if us talking about these bands and these particular albums it does anything, I just stop assuming when you weren't anywhere involved with the band that there was trend hopping or there was pressure, because I feel like in a lot of cases these bands would have gotten heavier anyway.
I am very interested in like, what if there was like an alternate timeline where grunge didn't kill anything, they just kind of coexisted?
Yes.
And it's not that the grunge bands had any part in it, it's the companies that dropped all of their, glam bands as soon as flannel came on the scene, Yeah. And it's, it's not the grunge band's fault that they got big. It's just,
Well, I mean, it was partially the audience as well, because if you remember, like, these labels were still putting out albums from these regular ass hard rock bands. The audiences just moved away.
Yeah.
And and then all of a sudden there was a really quick pivot where the record companies were all like, oh, never mind. Nothing to see here. And so, yeah. So I get the alternate timeline where that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been it would have happened anyway. I don't think I think the music would have changed anyway. That's what was going on in the 80s and 90s, you know?
There's a really cool Rate Your Music page from a guy called Full Throttle F1, and it's literally just like a database of hair metal albums by year, and if you go through it, it's very clear that between the years of 89 and 92, the market was incredibly saturated.
Oh yeah,
Like, holy shit, of course it bottomed out quickly at that point. When it reached, I mean, to be fair, you could argue that grunge came at it did. It came at the commercial peak of all this music. People have it in their head that, it's strictly an 80s genre, but, if I would argue that this style of music, had grunge not come along, would have dominated until at least 95.
Yeah, probably.
Or in some respect, maybe, I don't know, maybe 95 might be a little ambitious, maybe like 93, 94. But ultimately, I mean, I don't know, I find it very interesting,
Here's another interesting timeline to think about. Like, what if Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all that stuff had come out, and then they're the new poster boys. And then in all of their interviews, they're wearing like Britney Fox t-shirts. And they're just like, did you hear the new Danger? Did you hear the new Britney? Go listen to those guys too. Imagine a world where all of a sudden, all of the bands were all supporting each other's sound. And that would have been beautiful, but also kind of confusing. But, imagine that. Imagine a world where all of a sudden people are very confused about like, oh, well, you mean I can listen to Nirvana and Warrant? And I'm like, yeah, you can. And then you'll become this. That's what you become. You become me when you love all of this different shit, and there's no real explanation for it, but
I always find it very interesting looking at the history of glam metal, because it's such a definitive moment, and then like it seemingly disappears within like 18 months.
Yeah. It's so I read that book, the Nothing But a Good Time book.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew the impact of these particular albums, but like I didn't really think about it. But like the two albums that really fucking kickstarted, well, I mean, it didn't kickstart it, but it made it fucking huge, was Metal Health by Quiet Riot and Stay Hungry by Twisted Sister. Like, both of those albums, and I think it's because they had really catchy, well done songs on them that also had, music videos. And so that was like literally not only rocketed those two bands into stardom, but literally anyone similar. Boom. Yeah. All of a sudden you guys were all rock stars now. And it's interesting because those two albums are two that I never really want to go listen to. I like some songs on both, but I don't really like either one of those albums that much.
It's funny. Like I often think to myself as well. Like a lot of the genre's strongest material comes at the end of its life cycle, where it's like so many of my favorite 80s glam metal stuff is from the early 90s, because it's like, they figured out how to have it be punchy and anthemic. It's not, it's not too mushy I'm
kind of all over the place when it comes to that stuff, because the stuff that I love would be like the first Rat album. So what's that, 84? And then Cinderella, which is 86. So I feel like there's different points in that each have an album or two where I'm like, this is like, for me, the pinnacle of this sound of this particular time. But you are right. Production wise, they started to realize how to nail it perfectly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Around like 89, 90, the production of stuff like Dr. Feelgood, Slave to the Grind, it just like that first Firehouse album sounds fat as fuck.
Yeah,
And that's from it's heavy.
1990, right?
The mix of that album, like on the heavier songs, I mean, I know they're known for fucking Don't Treat Me Bad and Love of a Lifetime.
Yeah.
But you listen to something like Rock on the Radio, that shit fucking bangs, dude.
Yeah.
Like all of the up tempo or heavier songs on that album stand up, man. They sound killer.
Yeah. Speaking of like production style that you love, I get that sometimes I just want this particular sound and I know that you like it. So I went and listened to first Pearl Jam album. And then I listened to Stone Temple Pilots Core. But then I listened to the first Candlebox album and I'm like, why is Eddie not all over this fucking album?
I am.
You are? Okay. Because I put it on and literally into song number 2, I was just like,
is that changed?
This is, I'm like, this is like, it sounds as good as, as like Core. It just, that production where it had gotten cleaner, bigger, still has the reverb going on it.
Yeah.
And there's just something about that sound because that's a sound that got discarded real quick. But for that small period of time, they were fucking nailing it.
No, dude, I would point to Change off of that album as one of the best sounding songs ever fucking recorded. That first Candlebox album in the last couple of years has really stuck with me because it's one of those that I was late to the game with, but when I heard it, it's been one of those that's in the back of my mind, and it's almost like there's a part of me that is at this point with so many albums now, I know so many albums inside out, that I'm like, I kind of don't want to overdo it because I'm like, I want this first time album feeling to last with this one.
Yeah.
Because I know Core, I know Angel Dust, I know Dirt, I know all of these fucking albums.
Yeah.
Every fucking audible molecule that occurs on this, I am familiar with. So whenever I run into an album now where I'm like, I fucking love this, I kind of stagger it to where I'm like, I want this to last.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting band to talk about because first 2 Candlebox albums pretty damn good. And then they kind of fall off. But to be fair, I haven't really given them the attention they deserve. But I just remember hearing later stuff and being like, something's not as good here. but that first album, I was just listening and plus the vinyl version that I have sounds so good. And it just coming through the speakers, the sound of that album, I was just like, damn, this sounds so good. And we took that sound for granted because now people will, I know that producers are trying to get back to that in certain albums, but it's still missing something. And I don't know what it is, but it's nice. It has a nice sound. Anyway, where were we? You were on Cockroach.
Cockroach, yes. Cockroach, Ted Poley version, kicks ass. It's harder, it's heavier, but it still has the voice of Danger Danger to me. And that pretty much wraps up Cockroach. Bada boom, bada bing, know what I'm saying?
My number 3 is Screw It from 1991. So earlier I was mentioning how these major labels had these newer alternative rock bands or whatever, and they still had the bands from the 80s that were previously successful. And then they released albums from these out, and if they had been successful, I think they would have continued to promote all of the bands. Screw It, I'd never listened to this album all the way through until I did this thing. And this is not a bad album. It's a fun album, but it sounds to me like exactly why this genre was dying very quickly. Because it's 1991, and I believe it came out after Nevermind came out. I might be wrong, but I think it did. And it It's just, that's why I love the title of it, because the title is perfect for so many reasons, because there's a lot more like innuendo and naughty on this one. But also it's like, oh, there's a changing musical landscape. Screw it. And that's what happens here. And because Monkey Business is not a great song. It's fun, but like as a songwriting guy, I listen to songwriting and I go, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I could have picked like 5 stronger like singles from this album. I agree. Monkey Business is very cheesy.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, listening to these albums in reverse, all of a sudden it was almost like, oh, it's a different band. This is a totally different band now. Going from Cockroach, Ted Poley Cockroach, to Screw It, I was just like, oh, okay, all right. But it's kind of admirable how much they were just sticking to their guns, where in 91 a lot of other bands were already getting heavier or already getting bluesier or whatever. But they turned up the 80s party even higher on Screw It. My only big gripe in doing that is that they cut the keyboards, or they're lower in the mix, because they're not prominent anymore, and that hurt my heart, because the keyboards are part of why I like the first album. But yeah, halfway through this album, I wrote down the note: this album sounds like why everybody got tired of this stuff, because it's so heavy handed, and it's. Nah, we're partying, guys.
This album is my number 2, so I'll join you on this. This album, I fucking love it, but it is as close to a Steel Panther album as you can get before it enters the realms of parody. There are so many moments on this. I mean, I'm gonna read the track list.
Yeah.
Right. Ginger Snaps is an intro of a combination of jungle noise and pornographic moans. Monkey Business, is the lead single. Slipped Her, the big one. Beat the Bullet, I Still Think About You is the ballad. Get Your Shit Together. Oh, they're swearing now. Oops. Yep. Crazy Nights is a banger.
Crazy Nights.
Yeah. It is one of the. It is yet another thing of that Crazy Nights thing that so many fucking bands did. Well, the thing is, it's funny that like that feels like Danger Danger is ripping off Kiss, ripping off Loudness. Like there are so many repeated song titles from this era where it's like, hang on, who's Under the Gun are you talking
exactly,
about?
Under the Gun.
Are we talking about fucking Kiss? Are we talking about Lita Ford? Are we talking about Danger Danger? Are we talking about like it's so funny that if you what I might do is I might take all of the hair metal albums I have in my possession, stick them all into a playlist and see how many like repeat song titles I find.
Let me do an experiment right now.
Oh shit, here we go. You heard it here first.
What is the most repeatedly used song title in music history?
It's got to be like I Love You or something, right?
Let's see if ChatGPT can do this.
Oh shit.
According to this, the number one song title that's repeated is Home. Song's called Home. Tonight,
Dream Theater song
Baby, Stay, Love, Crazy, Forever. Those are all like song titles. Yeah. So thanks, ChatGPT, for joining us for this episode.
Can you look up how many hair metal bands have a song called Under the Gun?
Okay. How many hair metal bands have a song called Under the Gun?
It's going to be a lot. It has to at least be several.
There are 4 notable hair or glam metal acts that recorded a track titled Under the Gun. Danger Danger from their 1989 hard rock hair metal single, Under the Gun. Lita Ford, London, the glam metal band included Under the Gun on their 86 album. Aldo Nova.
Damn. And Kiss.
And then Kiss, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's one I always noticed because it was like, and you know what as well? There's a Wasp song called For Whom the Bell Tolls, and there is also a Saxon song called For Whom the Bell Tolls, to where it's like, I know at the point they wrote those songs, it was a cool phrase, but at this point, everybody thinks of Metallica.
Yeah.
Like, that phrase is so synonymous with Metallica.
But even then, isn't that the title of a book?
It is, but like at this point, it's like, you know, in in a timeline where Ride the Lightning is now 41 years old, it is Metallica's song. So if I go in, I think it's going to be a cover of that song.
That's why I think, that's why I think it's so funny that there are still bands that will use song titles that are well known in their songs. I'm just like, why are you just think of a different fucking title. That's the one thing. If I was, in the music business and I was meeting new artists, not just rock and roll, pop, hip hop, whatever, first thing I would say before we said anything else, I'd be like, did you Google the fuck out of everything you're going to do? Google the fuck out of your artist name, Google the fuck out of your song titles. It's like do your due diligence, because even if it's not a legal issue, why would you want to start literally there's a band from Canada that I'm really into that's called Bison, and I literally just saw a brand new metal band. They're like, we're called Bison. I'm like, fucking Google the shit. What's the band that you guys played with? You guys played with a band that has some other band's name, and I'm just like, Google it. Strung out. Google your shit.
Here's the thing. On the night that we played with them, they said, we found out that our name is the name of an already big band. So for tonight, for one night only, we're going to call ourselves Not Sage. So
oh, nice.
So they went the other way with it, which was at least fun.
Yeah.
So
and I understand it's lame, but at this point with the internet, like that's what I did when I started putting out music under the name supporting actor. I spent a week Googling all the different combinations of things to make sure that there wasn't already a band called that. So anyway, that's my 2 cents for aspiring artists out there. Google is your friend and it's free. Use it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Cool. Well, yeah. While you were doing that, I was.
I'm gonna tell you one time.
Hell yeah.
Where are we at?
We were at,
I was talking about Screw It.
I'm also talking about Screw It. So
yeah.
This album,
it's way too long also. Why is it that long?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? This album definitely needed some fat trimming, and I'm going to go in and mention there are 4 tracks here that do not need to be taking up space.
Yeah.
You got Ginger Snaps, which is the intro featuring, Ginger Lynn.
We should, what would be an interesting episode to do? We'll choose intro songs that actually benefit the album. Just maybe do our top 5 or 10 intro songs that actually feel like I wouldn't want to remove them from the album.
Yeah. Is this necessary?
Is this necessary? Yeah.
You know what? That's a really good episode title. Intros or interludes that should be there.
We could literally do an "Is this necessary?" about pretty much anything.
Well,
instead of reviewing an album for is it good or is it bad, it'll be brand new album from Ghost. Is this necessary?
Well, I'm gonna come around and say you could have removed Ginger Snaps, Puppet Show, Yeah You Want It, and DFNS, and it would be a rock solid hair metal album. I would make the case for Yeah You Want It staying, because it is a funny way to end the album. At least they're tapping into some Beastie Boys, but
the thing that I think is so funny about that song is that the whole album is them being stuck in the 80s with the sound of the album, and then even their fake rap song sounds like rap music that hadn't been made in like 5-6 years at that point.
Yeah.
Because literally it's 91, but they're still doing like we're danger, and we're here to say like that's our rap. They're rapping. It's very like they heard one rap song back in like 85, and they're like, is this still what they're doing?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, answer me this: is that rap verse from the Winger album more or less awkward than this?
Less.
Yes, because it's worked into an actual.
I actually
song.
like that. Now that once you introduced me to that song, I've gone back and listened to that album, and I'm just like it. There's sometimes they're like a so bad it's good, I guess, where like it's like, because I didn't hear that song when it came out. So I'm literally hearing it in 2025. And to me, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. So I don't know. Maybe at the time I would have felt different. Anyway.
Yeah. Like I say, this album, it is clocking in at 57 minutes and 30 seconds, which is long for an album of this style.
Yeah. When I'm in the mood for an album like this, I need it to be 40 minutes. Pushing an hour is a lot.
Yeah, so you could easily have parted with. Honestly, if you not that I'm saying I don't like to hear the sound of a woman enjoying it. However, you could have easily parted with Ginger Snaps, and Monkey Business would probably be a stronger song as a result, because you'd be like, ain't no business but monkey business. And already I think that would have like heightened the urgency of that song coming in, and it's like, oh, we're in for some fun.
Yeah. Honestly, in my opinion, there has never been the incorporation of a woman moaning in a song that wasn't cringy. It's always cringy. And
About Rocket Queen.
it's fucking cringy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. It's even worse. And so we're talking about shit that I love. I love Appetite for Destruction, and I love Rocket Queen. And then on
I love the female orgasm.
Yeah, those are good too. And then on the only thing that would make it worse is if you have a guy, one of the guys in the band moaning as well. Which a good example of that is Evil Dick from Body Count, which is like.
When Evil Dick gets his way, it sounds a little something like this.
It's funny, but damn, it's cringy. It is cringy.
Is the bit that kills me, the bit that makes me fucking wheeze in that song, is when the drums stop and you can tell that they're changing positions. It's like, come here, baby.
Yeah.
Good. All right, flip her over. Good.
Yeah. Damn, Dick.
Dick. Dude, the
Evil Dick. Anyway, yeah, I love that album, and I love that song, and I love Ice-T. But but to say if you were asking me, is it cringy? I would be like 100%. If there was a percentage above 100, it would be there. Like it's.
I'd love to hear. There had to have been like bloopers of recording that.
Yes.
There has to be like a reel-to-reel tape somewhere of the funniest shit we've never heard.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I would love to know, because that plenty of other artists probably tried to do something like that, and a lot of them just after hearing it discarded it. I want to hear those. Like, we were going to include an orgasm on this album, but it really was bad. Cool, let me hear that one.
Oh man, dude, God damn it! Now I want to hear that. I want to hear that so bad. Man,
Screw it.
Oh man, yeah, screw it.
Screw it's my number 3 and your number 2.
Yes, cool. So
let's move on.
Yeah,
right?
Over to you.
You good? My number 2 is Cockroach, the original Cockroach that would have been released in 1993 if they had put it out with Ted Poley on vocals. This is a great 90s album from an 80s hard rock band.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it amazing, comparatively speaking, to the other ones from around that time that I like a lot more. But this is a very enjoyable album here. And the way that the album is sequenced makes it feel more dynamic. There's more, I don't know, it feels like you're getting more of a variety, and it's way more of an interesting listen. And there's something about Ted Poley's vocals, because he's not as aggressive as a singer as Paul Lane,
No.
but he sounds better on these songs. It makes the heavier tracks sound more interesting, and he sounds more at home on the slower tracks because he has a nicer voice like that. And honestly, it's a really interesting example, like, because you don't get a lot of chances to hear a complete album done with a completely different vocalist. I mean, it's happened in other cases, but I love it because you really do hear like how a certain singer's voice can make something sound better, even if it's like the same exact vocals, only just with a different singer. So honestly, my takeaway from this is that they should have released this in 1993. It would have ultimately flopped, I'm sure, but I feel like it would now be one of those albums that people are talking about. Like, because there fortunately these days there is more talk about albums like Dog Eat Dog and Ultraphobic and I don't know what's the third Skid Row album? Subhuman Race.
Yeah.
Just all these albums that I think at the time were kind of overlooked, but unfortunately for Cockroach, it
didn't come out.
It was overlooked by everybody, even the fucking record label. So now it's out, but I didn't know anything about it. And the way that it's presented when you go look for it online is that it's the other version of the Paul Lane album. And I'm like, I think they did it a disservice by releasing it that way. They should have just, I mean, I realized Paul Lane was the vocalist at the time, so it made sense to put out his version, and I'm glad they put out both. But I'm like, if there's there's record labels out there putting out new versions of stuff or like vinyl releases, like let's put out Cockroach the way that it deserves to be put out. Some cool label out there. What's the Cleopatra Records is one that's doing a lot of that shit. They're based out of Austin, I believe, but they put out like a lot of, I think LA Guns is on Cleopatra now and a lot of those bands. But somebody, I think it would be really cool to like go to the band and be like, hey, what did you envision the album cover to look like? Let's literally do it like it's 93 and let's put it out. Cause I think it would be cool. Cause it's a good album. Not my number one though. Our joint number one, Danger Danger, featuring Naughty Naughty and Bang Bang. Now, before we start, now that I've gone through all of this stuff and I've listened to all of the Danger Danger stuff, I'm going to go on record and say still the best thing that Danger Danger ever did, Naughty Naughty Christmas. That's the best thing Danger Danger ever did.
Okay.
Because Naughty Naughty Christmas has made its way into like regular Christmas rotation where I listen to that song multiple times every Christmas.
Well, the funniest thing about that is that was written for the Santa Claus 2.
Yes.
The 2002 American Christmas fantasy comedy film, directed by Michael Lembeck in his directorial debut, starring Tim Allen. We're in the start of July talking about a Christmas movie. I love it.
Literally, the song is too good for that movie.
So, oh my God, I didn't realize this. Fuck, dude, I may have to get the soundtrack. This looks like it fucking rips. So the very first track is called Everybody Loves Christmas, and it's literally Eddie Money and Ronnie Spector. Hell yeah.
Nice.
And it also, oh, you're telling me they left fucking,
What?
They left fucking Naughty Naughty Christmas off of the fucking soundtrack.
Wasn't it recorded for it, but then didn't make it into the movie?
Let me have a look.
I don't know. I don't think it's on it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but folks. So the Danger Danger did a Christmas song in, I don't know what year it was that they did that song, but it's really good. Like, and I hate most Christmas music, but there are those certain songs that just kind of get me in the holiday spirit. And Naughty Naughty Christmas is fucking great. It's really good. There's also one by Enough Zenuff that's really good too. But yeah. Anyway, what are we doing?
The debut.
Yes, but our joint number one, Danger Danger, featuring Naughty Naughty and Bang Bang, go.
Okay, so this is the epitome of 80s cheese, smiley, big toothy music video.
Big
rock.
keyboards.
Big keyboards, and I absolutely fucking love it.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone in a grungy metal band.
Yeah.
I am in a fantastic mood when I listen to this fucking album, dude.
Yeah.
There is
not just the keyboards, but the reverb heavy production. Everything about this just sounds so good to my ears.
Yeah, this is your golden ticket to a good mood if you want, just to feel fucking happy listening to some hard rock. This album is just, it's so fun. Like, it starts off with Naughty Naughty, Under the Gun, Saturday Night, and then you get your first ballad.
Can I stop you there? I really like this album, but here's my one critique that would make it even better.
Okay.
The album should have started with Under the Gun, because it's so good. It's fucking Montage City, that fucking song.
Yeah.
But it should have started the album because it's a very exciting beginning. And I think Naughty Naughty isn't a great beginning track. But not only that, Under the Gun sounds like the album cover. Like, if you look at the album cover, if you listen to Under the Gun, like, imagine the album starting that way and then it goes into Naughty Naughty. Like, I think that would have been a really great move. But that's just me. Because they're great songs, but like as much fun as Naughty Naughty and Bang Bang are, Under the Gun just a fucking great tune. And I just think that would be a great beginning song. But yeah.
You know what? I am inclined to agree with you, because I always thought, obviously Naughty Naughty is the first track because it's the lead single, it's hair metal, it's 1989. Of course, they put that as the song that kicks things off.
Yeah.
But like, you get Under the Gun, and like I say, it is Montage City.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with you. Like you said, this song sounds like a soundtrack. I feel like they were gunning for soundtrack placement with most of these songs.
Yeah. It has that vibe.
Yeah.
If you enjoy the Bill and Ted movies, you will get a fucking great time out of this. I mean,
not just that, could have been like a Rocky movie, like whatever.
Yeah,
man,
it's fun hair metal with a more than healthy dose of keyboard going on.
Perfect amount for me.
Perfect amount. I agree.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, I am fully on board. Saturday Night is a fucking go out and party anthem. Don't Walk Away, track 4, ballad, is a beautiful fucking song, and that was released as a single in 1990.
And they followed the rule of number 4 for the ballad.
They absolutely followed the 1, 2, 3 rocker punch, and then you do a ballad at track 4. Now, because this is hair metal, this is not the only ballad on the album, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Doing the exact same thing again, you got 3 absolute bangers. You get Bang Bang, Rock America, and Boys Will Be Boys. I Bang Bang into Rock America is some of like the most instant good mood music I can think of. Like, you go from Bang Bang to Rock America, it's just major key hard rock goodness, and it's something that's missing. I think we need more of that energy nowadays, as well as some cool heavier stuff. But you got Boys Will Be Boys, and then you got One Step from Paradise, which once again is doubling down on it's a multiple of 4, better make it a ballad.
Yeah.
So you got One Step from Paradise. I think ultimately, it used to be I used to prefer One Step from Paradise to Don't Walk Away, but I actually think Don't Walk Away is a stronger song in retrospect. Feels Like Love is great. I have such a good time listening to that. If I had to point to a weak track, I would say it would be Turn It On, but then it's still a good mood. But what a fucking closer Live It Up is, man. Like, Live It Up is such a great fucking song. And to be honest, they probably go out on the hardest edged song on the album. If you had to point to a song that was like, oh, this is bad fucking ass, dude. This is the bluesiest, gnarliest track on here. And it's still very much got those like synth brass keyboards on it, but it's got a good shuffle to it, sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
But honestly, I absolutely just fucking adore this album, man. That there's an aura around it. There's an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it takes you there. It makes you feel like you're in an 80s movie.
Yeah. The interesting thing is listening to this album in 2025, because I was writing down notes, and because as the album goes on, I'm like, this is such a great collection of like all of the 80s rock vibes on one album, including like the cliches that had already become cliches. And the album is so well done for what it is. It almost nowadays, if you had said, oh, this is an 80s rock album created in a lab by scientists who were perfecting the perfect 80s rock album of this style, I'm like, I'd believe you. Because I'm just like, it feels like everything about it. If you're wanting this particular sound, they hit all the marks you're wanting to hit. It's all very well done. It's produced in the perfect way for this particular sound. It's just like, and the album cover is cool. So it's like, it doesn't, there are some album covers from that era that are awful. But the Danger one is like, it's almost, I mean, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Is it like The Shadow or something like that? But really the only negative you could say about this is that at this point, some of it feels a little generic, but I just feel like it just nails all the right marks for this type of album. And it's, and maybe at times here and there it fades a little bit into the background because it's so nicely sounding. It just kind of becomes your soundtrack of whatever you're doing. And it's not like holding your attention the way some albums do, but it's kind of like cradling you and just like, hey, just hang out, bro. Just hang out here, man. That's the best way to describe this album. It just feels like a perfect little late 80s hard rock blanket that they wraps you up in, and just like, everything's going to be fine. We're going to get banged and naughty naughties today. So anyway, that's why it's my number one, because I was just like, it's the only album out of all these that I'm just like, I don't think they could have done that album any better. I think they pretty much nailed it right there.
Yeah, it is like you say, it's got that Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure vibe to it, to where it does sound like a perfectly crafted 80s movie soundtrack. It's got every single song for every scene you could think of. Yeah. And like, honestly, when I listen to this album, I do feel a sense of, I kind of want to get into movie making just so I can put this album to its correct use. Yeah. So there was no doubt in my mind that this was going to be the number one. I did initially think to myself, does Screw It have some stronger songs? It's like, I don't know. The vibe is so cohesive here that it is just it's a perfect product of its era. I think the difference for me is like, if you're using like a smile emoji, like Danger is like
the big, bright, shiny, smiley, and then screw it, when it gets to be a little bit of a it's a little bit of a, are we still doing this? I'm still in a good mood, but what's going on? It's like, you know, so it's there's a purity that's kind of lost on Screw It that like I said, they leaned way too much into like, we're having a party, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, it's a fun party, but you know.
Yeah, I definitely think that above all else, the 49 minutes and 40 seconds that make up the debut album are just fucking flawlessly paced. Everything is where it should be. And it just, like, even I'm willing to admit, yeah, it is 80s cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, this
band, you know?
album is not going to change your perspective of music forever. It's not that kind of album, but it's like judging something for what it's supposed to be. And if you're judging it for what it's supposed to be, it's fucking perfect. It's exactly what it needs to be.
It quite literally nails what it's going for. Like, again, I'm going to list off this track list. All of these songs are burned into my brain from the amount I've listened to this album. Naughty Naughty, Under the Gun, Saturday Night, Don't Walk Away, Bang Bang, Rock America, Boys Will Be Boys, One Step from Paradise, Feels Like Love, Turn It On, Live It Up. Drive with this album on during a fucking sunset and tell me you don't feel absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On that note. Yeah. We got Naughty Naughty, guys. I hope you're here for it.
We did indeed get Naughty Naughty.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, why did they not? They should have the song "Goodbye" should have been called "Bye Bye," and that's my one note for you guys. If Danger are watching, any of you guys, if you put out another album, let's bring the repeated song titles back because it's fun. It was a fun thing.
I'll tell you what, there is a really, really, really good pro shot concert of Danger.
Oh,
and
nice.
And it's from 1992, live in Tokyo, Japan, and it's fucking fun. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay, cool.
Copy that link, send it to Old Head. Yeah.
I think Melvin's excited about it.
Melvin.
Yeah, he's stoked about it.
He's a schnauzer. Is he a schnauzer?
He's the schnauzer, yeah.
Nice.
He's recently overtaken my rocking chair in the record room to where I now sit on the floor.
Wow.
Because he jumps up there and he looks so comfortable. And then when I want to go listen to records, I would be sitting in my little rocking chair having a drink. But like whenever I do that now, he sort of stands around awkwardly like, dude, where do I go? Where do I go in my life? And so I'm just like, okay, just get back on the chair. And then I just sit on the floor.
Poor little guy's having an existential crisis right now.
Yeah.
So I have chair privileges. What?
Because he's kind of awkward like me. And so like, I kind of get it. And I'm just like, if he found a spot that he enjoys, who am I to take that away from him? And I can just easily sit on the floor, which is actually kind of nice. I sit down on the floor and literally have the sound just like right at my head. And I'm just like, nice. All right, cool. That's, it works out. Anyway.
Sweet.
All right. So that's Danger. And I don't remember what's happening next. So let's have that conversation right now for the what are they called? Peanut butter platypuses, the
aluminium squirrels, Belvedere bull sitters,
Christmas dogs.
dogs.
You guys are the reason why we continue to do this because you rule. Mm-hmm. And here's the part where you get a little bit of a taste into the after show meeting where we figure out what's next.
So coming up, we got now. Here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Here are the next. I'm going to say the next 4 episode ideas.
Okay.
L7.
Ooh.
Kiss live albums.
Okay.
1984.
Alrighty.
Queen.
Oh shit.
We're gonna need some time for Queen.
I think that L7 is a good next one because it's a nice shift from the 80s to the 90s, a little more of a grungy vibe.
Do you think as well, should we have Queen as a double episode? Or
How many Queen albums are there?
There's quite a few. Queen discography.
It's been a while since we did a double episode, but maybe Queen deserves that.
15 studio albums. So
yeah, why not? Let's do it for a change. Let's do Queen as a two-parter.
So Queen 1, Queen 2. So real
Like
quick,
8 and 7 or whatever.
now I am going to say this. This is one of those times where I have listened to every album, but it was a long time ago. So
Yeah, I think at some point I've listened to every album too, but it's been a long time.
6,
Are we
7.
wait? I have to ask one important question because I won't do the Queen episode if my demands are not met. We're doing the Flash Gordon soundtrack in the discography
Yes.
because it's one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah, it is counted as a studio album, so we are
Okay,
doing
good.
it.
Whew. I would be like, no, we're not doing it. God, I love the movie's great. I love that movie, but that soundtrack is like one of the greatest things ever. It's just everything about it, the way that the dialogue is incorporated and the rockers with the synthy stuff. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. Okay.
It's a really interesting soundtrack too, because it comes at a really pivotal time for the band. Mm-hmm. Like they've got one foot in the rock, one foot in the synth.
Yeah. I can't wait to do their discography just to talk about Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I haven't seen Flash Gordon in fucking years.
Oh, it holds up. Like it's very dated, but I had such a fun. I watched that movie maybe I don't know 5-6 years ago maybe, but I had such a good time. I was just like, oh my god, it's still such a good time watching this movie, and I still know all the little these. I still quote parts of that when I'm watching it because especially from the soundtrack, when shit's about to go down, depending on different lines in here. Anyway. Check out Flash Gordon, everybody. It's an 80s sci-fi masterpiece.
Hell yeah.
With that actor that plays Flash Gordon that I was like, was he in anything else? I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Sam
something.
Flash.
Sam Gordon? I don't know. Flash Gordon, quarterback,
Sam
New York
Jones.
Jets. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So L7 next time?
Yeah. We got L7. Then we got Kiss live albums. Then we got 1984, which buys us some time for Queen 1 and 2. And then after that, we got Slashed and Mashed Blaze Bayley.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
We've also got Suicidal Tendencies and the GTA Vice City radios. So we got some fun ones coming up. Dude.
This is gonna be great. So yeah, next time L7, which is I'm looking forward to that because they have albums that I've never really heard before, and some that I know pretty well. But
Sweet.
That'll be a nice difference, going from Danger to L7.
Yeah.
So yeah, join us next time when we will crank and rank all the L7 albums. I don't know how many of those are. It's not that many. It's like 7, maybe 8.
I think it's 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah, that sounds like 7.
Join us next time for more counting in Eddie's head.
Yeah.
That's what it was. All right, everybody. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You're all beautiful and amazing, and we love you. And as usual, I'm going to throw it over to Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
Later, dude.